Are you struggling to get by, living paycheck to paycheck, but you know you got some hustle in you, you know you got what it takes, you got some ambition, you just haven't had the right vehicle to get you there? Well, I'm going to explain to you why you would crush it in the car business and you can change your life. Let's get right to that. Welcome to Keeping It Real, where that's exactly what we're about to do. We're going to keep it real. Let's get right to the video. You're tired of struggling. You're tired of living paycheck to paycheck. You know that you got some hustle in you. You know that you want to do better. You know you can do better. You just haven't had the right opportunity. You don't know the right people. And you're just not sure what move to make. That's why I need you to consider to get into the car business. It's fairly easy to get into as a salesperson. Show up, dress nice, and just be willing to learn. Let the manager tell him, hey, I got a lot of hustle. I just need direction. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. You show me the blueprint to get me where I need to go, and I'm going to follow it to a T. That's what I'm trying to do. And most of the time, you're going to land the job unless you say something stupid in the interview, or you show up late, or you dress like crap. But most of the time, you're going to get the job. Because what we're looking for in the car business is we're looking for that. We're looking for the person that wants to better their life, that wants to do better, who wants to follow the proven processes that's already there to get your life better. Sell more cars, make more money. It's a pretty simple concept. But here's the reason why I really need you to consider it. Okay? Not only do I know that you could get in here and probably make your first $10,000 if you haven't done that before, but the real reason why I need you to do it is the competition. It's not really there. There's not a lot of competition. Not most dealerships, okay? The most dealerships don't have a lot of competition. You would think that going into a job where the more activity you do, the more you sell, the more you can make, you would think that most people in this business would be ambitious, they would be motivated, they'd be hungry every single day to better their lives, sell more vehicles, and make more money, provide for their families, provide for themselves. It's not the case. It just doesn't happen all the time. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen, but at the same time, I understand because we're humans. We're humans, and every human is a little bit different. Every humans get a little bit comfortable in certain spots. And they're okay with certain things. But if you come in and you're the freaking tiger, you're the lion, then guess what? You're gonna crush it. You're gonna crush it. If you do exactly what's taught, okay? If you go into the dealership and they actually have a blueprint, you got a manager that's willing to train you. Even if you don't have a manager who will train you, you find videos online, you watch my videos, you watch other people's videos on how to sell cars and how to get better, you're going to crush the competition. Because most of them show up to work and they don't do that. They don't actually put the work in. They get distracted. They'd rather talk to their coworkers. They look at doing their daily task as a hassle. They don't want to do what it takes. They don't listen to videos. They don't try to improve. They don't do role playing. You know, when they get on the phone calls and they take an incoming phone call and they know that they're not that great at it, they don't do anything to get better. They just literally go through the motions and they get to a point where they're comfortable. And they're able to do so much and they just be okay with it. Whatever that number is that the salespeople come into this business and decide that they're going to be okay with once they achieve it, then they figure out the work that needs to get done in order to make that happen. And most of the time in this business, it's not much work. It's not really much work. Like it's just baffling that you would get into a job that you could have all this potential and all this it just, I don't even know how to say it. It just kind of frustrates me, but I get it at the same time because not everybody shares the same goals. Not everybody shares the same passion. So I get it to a point. But the craziest thing is, it's actually not much work to get better. Like if you come into the car dealership and you're averaging around $5,500 a month, that's what you're making. I'm not going to say that's a terrible living. It's a pretty decent living. But for you to go to 7,000 or 7,500, it really doesn't take much more than you to get off your ass. It really doesn't. Like you'll have a customer outside, and people will turn their heads and not want to go outside and get the customer. The phone will ring, and they decide they took too many phone calls today, and they don't want to answer another phone call. You know, customer inquirers online, and they just give a piss poor response to the customer. They don't even try, and then they do a terrible job following up with the customer. Like there's very limited effort that goes into the car business once somebody's been in it for so long. It's just very limited. It's like the bare minimum. And then you get the manager, and they're trying to push, and then that creates a little bit of friction because now all of a sudden the manager, he's a micromanager, she's a micromanager. You know, oh, I already know you're this and that and this bullshit. And I get it, but you are in the business to better yourself and get better and make more money. And it's not that difficult. It's really not that difficult. What's really difficult is sitting around for 8 hours not doing shit. That's what's difficult. And that's at least for me. So if you are considering getting out of whatever job you're in now, you're not making it happen, you're not making the money you want, but you do have the hustle and you do have the ambition, get in the car business and crush them. Crush them. Learn the product better than anybody that's at the dealership. Learn the product inside and out better than everybody. Okay? Learn the actual process of the sale. Learn the steps of the sale and master the steps of the sale. Every day, practice them, master them. Learn what objections the customers are going to give you and start to learn how to overcome some of these objections and learn why these objections are even coming up in the first place. Figure out a system where you're comfortable with doing the follow-up every single day. Have fun with it. Get creative. Don't get stuck in a rut. Do your follow-up every single day. When the phone call rings and you answer the phone call, you're going to be terrible at first. Train on it. Practice on it. Figure out what works. Figure out what doesn't work. And every day, get better. On your way to work, you better be listening to something that makes you better at your job. On your way home, you better be reflecting on what you did today and what you know you should have done and how you could have got better every single day. If you do this every day and you perfect your craft like a freaking NFL quarterback, a basketball player, a baseball player that's all about their crafts and they want to be the best, if you have that mindset, you're going to crush the competition. I got into this business with very little talent. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But what I learned was nobody else really tried. Nobody else really tried. A lot of them just had some natural ability and they just rode the natural ability. They didn't care about training and getting better, and it was actually frowned upon at one point in my career. It was frowned upon to actually train and get better because I should just know it, and the training is getting taught by people who don't know how to sell cars. That's why they're trainers. Okay. But their shit's good, and I'm going to listen to it, and I'm going to get better, so I don't care what you say. And I just kept doing it. I kept doing it, and I kept getting better. But then I watch people that come in and they just, and I don't want to say they don't care because I don't know if they care or not. Like that's a personal thing, whether or not you actually care or not. I mean, that's just how it feels sometimes, but I just don't understand why somebody would come to a business that has all this opportunity and only would want to seize a fraction of it. I'm all about being comfortable, loving my life, having a good balance. I'm all about all of that. I love that. I love it. I love it. But you don't actually have to do anything crazy to get better. Like I said, you're already at work. You're already at work. So here's what happens with most salespeople. They're at work. They have more conversation with their fellow workers. They watch more YouTube and dumbass videos online and just scrolling the random internet, looking at who knows what, maybe the next trip they want to take, or I don't even know, maybe how to build something, or how I don't know, a funny video, who knows, right? And I also understand why they do that, because we do need a little mental break. But when that becomes more than you perfecting your craft, that becomes the problem. Now, every dealership, for the most part, is going to have this same sort of setup. You're going to have the big hustlers, where they're gonna do most of the business. That's going to happen. Then you're going to have a bunch of the average people in the middle. And then you're going to have a couple of the slackers down below that kind of keep getting shuffled through before we can elevate the whole crew. But why would you show up and just want to be part of that average crew? It doesn't take much more work. It really doesn't. It doesn't take much more work for you to elevate your game, make some more money. But you gotta want it. You gotta want to do it. You got to enjoy what you're doing. And here's the other thing. It can't just be about the 10,000 or the 7,500 or whatever the goal is. Okay? If you get into this business and you're struggling getting by and you're living paycheck to paycheck and you got a family and you guys are just struggling, here's what I need you to do. I need you to write out how it feels. How does it fucking feel to struggle? How does it feel to very get by? How does it feel to not be able to support your family to the fullest? How does it feel knowing that you make excuses for how you're at? How does it feel that you blaming other people for your situation? How does that feel? How does it really feel? Okay, let's get real with it. This is real talk. Let's get real. How does it feel? You doing that? You making all these excuses and you coming up with all the bullshit reasons why you're not making it happen. And I don't care if you don't like money. Doesn't matter. It ain't about the money. Why? How does it feel? Write it down. Okay? And after you write it down, hopefully you got some tears coming out of your eyes and putting them on paper, because it's time to really get this out of you. We all got it in us. We all want to be secure. We all want to be happy. We all have ambition in us to a certain degree. Now on a separate sheet of paper, I want you to look at all those things and how would you feel if you had all those under control? How would you feel if you were secure and you had financial security and you were able to provide for your family and you were provide for yourself and you didn't have to worry about money and you no longer made excuses on why you were doing what you were doing and why you only had, the little bit that you did and if really write it out. Like, how would it really feel? How would it feel every day waking up and driving a vehicle that you actually like? It doesn't have to be a Lamborghini, but how about you woke up every morning and you were driving to work and you actually drove a vehicle that you liked? How would it feel that you could take your family out to dinner every once in a while and not worry if you're going to pay your bills or not? How would it feel? How would it feel to be able to spoil your wife every once in a while? How would it feel to not argue and fight about money? How would that feel? You got it. These are the things. And then, why? Why do you even want this to happen? Why do you want to be secure? What kind of goals and dreams and aspirations do you have? What would you do if your life all of a sudden changed? What would you do? What would you do? How would your family be? How would everything in your life be different if you had this security? And then what you do is you keep that with you every single day when you come in this business. Every single day. And every single phone call, every single customer that walks in, every single time that you have the ability to do a little bit of training, every time that you catch yourself slacking off, I want you to pull that out. I want you to read that. And I want you to realize why you made the choice. Read and decide, this is why I made this choice. This is why I switched to this business. Because I didn't have another choice. I didn't have another option. I didn't have the skill set to get me a different job. So I decided to get this job because of the potential. And the potential was all about me and what I put in. Not anybody else. It's what I did. What I put into this business is what I'm going to get out of this business. And you remind yourself every day. You remind your family every single day. And you let me know if you don't make a change. You let me know if that doesn't help you make a change in this business. But you got to want it. It ain't nobody else. It ain't the customer's fault. It ain't the other salespeople's fault. It's not your manager's fault. Your fault. You're in this position that you're in because of the choices that you made. That's why you're in the position that you're in. So today, just make some different choices and let's make a life better. I promise you, I'm here almost every single day, bringing a video, trying to help you out. You got to be willing to help yourself though, okay? Hey, check me out. Look at some other videos. Appreciate you watching. But always, let's just keep it real and let's do what it takes. Send me a message, DM me, whatever you want. I'm here to help. Let's be great. Let's make it happen. Have a beautiful day. Talk to you later.
We all show up, but we ain't built the same.